There exists a book that was never meant to reach your hands, a book so dangerous, so powerful, that it was classified, hidden, locked away from the masses. The classified book of money rules. Inside these pages lie the exact instructions that separate the wealthy from the poor, the free from the trapped, the abundant from the struggling. But here's what they don't want you to know. You've been following the wrong rules your entire life. Rules designed to keep you exactly where you are. And that's why you're still poor. What if I told you there's a choice in front of you right now? Do this or stay poor. It's that simple. It's that brutal. It's that real. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to reveal the classified collection of money rules that the elite have used for centuries to build dynasties while you've been told to save pennies and work harder. This isn't theory. This isn't motivation. This is the actual playbook. Do this or stay poor. Your choice starts now. Let me ask you something. Why do some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while you're grinding every single day and barely surviving? Is it luck? Is it connections? Is it some genetic advantage? No. It's because they know the rules. The real rules. The classified rules that were never taught in school, never shared in public, never written in mainstream books. For generations, there has existed a hidden playbook, a collection of money principles so potent that those who discovered them rose to unimaginable wealth, while those who remained ignorant stayed trapped in the cycle of poverty. This book, the one you see right here, represents that knowledge. The classified book of money rules, the hidden collection. And today you're going to receive what was meant to stay secret. But I need you to understand something critical. This isn't for everyone. These rules require courage. They require you to reject everything you've been told. They require you to act when others hesitate. Because here's the truth. You're at a crossroads right now. On one path lies everything you've always done. The safe path. The path society approves of. The path that leads to exactly where you are now. On the other path lies these classified rules. The dangerous path. The path that society fears. The path that leads to wealth, freedom, and power. Do this or stay poor. What I'm about to share will challenge you. It will make you uncomfortable. It might even make you angry. Good. That's how you know it's real. So turn off all distractions. Give me your complete focus. Because once you hear these rules, you can never unhear them. And once you know them, you have no more excuses. Let's begin. Part 1. The rules they hid, classified Rule 1. Poverty is a choice. In a forgotten village at the base of a mountain, two men lived side by side, both born into poverty, both given nothing, both starting from zero. The first man, Thomas, would wake every morning and say, "I am cursed. I was born poor. I will die poor. This is my fate." The second man, Alexander, would wake every morning and say, "I was born with nothing, which means I have nothing to lose. I choose wealth." 10 years passed. Thomas remained in the same village, in the same poverty, telling the same story. Alexander had built an empire. Same starting point, different choice. Here's classified rule number 1, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. Poverty is a choice. I know what you're thinking. That's not fair. You don't know my circumstances. You don't know my struggles. And you're right, I don't. But here's what I do know. Poverty is maintained by a decision you make every single day. The decision to accept it. The decision to justify it. The decision to identify with it. The wealthy don't have some magical advantage you lack. They simply made a different choice. They chose to reject poverty as their identity. Let me be clear. I'm not saying circumstances don't matter. I'm saying they don't determine your outcome. Your response to those circumstances does. Every morning you wake up and tell yourself a story. I can't afford this. Money is hard for me. I'm not good with finances. Rich people are lucky. Every single one of those thoughts is a choice to remain poor. The classified truth? Poverty is comfortable. It's familiar. It requires no risk. It gives you someone to blame. Wealth? Wealth is uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. It requires massive risk. It requires you to take full responsibility. Most people choose poverty not because they want to be poor, but because they're terrified of what wealth would require them to become. Here's your first classified practice: the poverty rejection ritual. Every morning for the next 30 days, stand in front of a mirror and say out loud, I reject poverty. I reject struggle. I reject lack. I choose wealth. I choose abundance. I choose power. Say it even if you don't believe it. Say it especially if you don't believe it, because the moment you change your choice, you change your trajectory. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 2. Your poverty serves someone's wealth in the grand halls of ancient empires. Advisors would whisper a secret to kings. Your Majesty, the wealth of the few requires the poverty of the many. This wasn't cruelty. This was structure. This was design. Classified Rule number 2. Your poverty serves someone's wealth. Every system, every economy, every structure is designed with winners and losers. And if you're not actively choosing to be a winner, the system has already chosen you to be a loser. Think about your job. Someone is getting wealthy from your labor while you receive a fraction of the value you create. That's not an accident. That's design. Think about your debt. Someone is building generational wealth from your interest payments while you're trapped making minimum payments. That's not unfortunate. That's intentional. Think about your consumerism. Someone is profiting massively while you're buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. That's not coincidence. That's programming. The system needs you to stay poor. Your poverty funds their wealth. And here's the brutal truth. You've been conditioned to accept this. You've been taught that this is just how things are, that you should be grateful for your job. That debt is normal. That consumption is happiness. But the classified knowledge reveals something different. The game is rigged, but you can learn the rules and play it differently. The wealthy don't work for them. They make money work for them. They don't create value for others. They capture value from others. They don't accept the system. They manipulate the system. I'm not saying this is fair. I'm saying this is real. You have two choices. Keep being the person whose poverty serves someone else's wealth, or become the person whose wealth is served by someone else's labor. Harsh? Yes. True? Absolutely. Here's the practice. The wealth transfer audit. This week, track where your money goes. Every dollar. Then ask yourself, who is getting wealthy from this transaction? Your employer? Your landlord? Your credit card company? The corporation you're buying from? Now ask, how can I reverse this flow? How can I become the one receiving instead of the one giving? That shift in thinking is the beginning of wealth. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 3. Your E not paid for hard work. Your E paid for value. There was once a laborer who carried stones from sunrise to sunset. His hands bled. His back ached. He worked harder than anyone in the village, yet he remained poor. Meanwhile, a merchant sat in the shade, spoke a few words, made a few deals, and became wealthy. The laborer grew bitter. I work so much harder than him. Why is he rich and I am poor? A wise elder explained, you're paid not for your effort, but for the value others perceive in what you provide. Classified Rule number 3. You're not paid for hard work. You're paid for value. This is the lie that keeps people poor. Work hard and you'll be rewarded. Put in the hours and success will come. Just keep grinding. Bullshit. The world doesn't care how hard you work. The world cares about the value you provide. And value isn't measured by effort. It's measured by impact, scarcity, and perception. A janitor works incredibly hard. A CEO might work less hours, but the CEO is paid exponentially more. Why? Because the market perceives the CEO's decisions as more valuable than the janitor's labor. Fair? Maybe not. Reality? Absolutely. You've been conditioned to trade time for 8 hours equals a paycheck. That's the poverty trap. Because your time is finite, you only have 24 hours. Which means your income has a ceiling. The wealthy don't trade time for money. They trade value for money. They create systems. They build assets. They solve problems at scale. One person working hard might feed themselves. One person creating value might feed thousands and get wealthy doing it. Here's what you need to understand. Your income is directly proportional to the value you provide to the market, not the value you think you provide, not the effort you put in, the value the market perceives. If you want more money, stop trying to work harder. Start trying to provide more value. Here's the practice, the value amplification exercise. Ask yourself these questions. What problem do I solve? Who benefits from what I do? How many people am I impacting? What would happen if I disappeared tomorrow? If your answers are small, your income will be small. Now ask, how can I solve bigger problems? How can I impact more people? How can I become irreplaceable? Those answers are your path to wealth. Do this, or stay poor. Classified Rule 4. Every rich person broke rules in the history books. You read about successful entrepreneurs, innovators, and titans of industry. What they don't tell you is how many rules they broke to get there. Steve Jobs, brutal, manipulative, broke countless norms. John Rockefeller created monopolies, crushed competition, operated in gray areas. The Rothschilds manipulated information, exploited chaos, bent systems. Every single one of them broke rules. Classified Rule number 4. Every rich person broke rules. Not laws necessarily, though sometimes that too, but they definitely broke social rules. Conventional wisdom. The way things are supposed to be done, because here's the truth, the rules you're following were created by people who wanted to control you, not empower you. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe job, work for 40 years, retire at 65 with a pension. That's the rule book for mediocrity. That's the rule book for staying in your place. That's the rule book that creates compliant workers, not wealthy individuals. The wealthy reject that playbook entirely. They drop out of college to start businesses. They take insane risks when everyone says play it safe. They zig when society says zag. They break conventions, challenge norms, and create their own rules. Now, I'm not telling you to become unethical. I'm telling you to question every rule you've been taught about money. Who told you to avoid risk? People who never built anything. Who told you to stay in your lane? People who wanted you to serve their lane. Who told you wealth requires decades of slow accumulation? People who wanted you to stay patient while they got rich. Every rule that keeps you poor was created by someone who benefits from your poverty. Here's the practice. The rule-breaking inventory. Write down 5 money rules you've always followed. Examples: save 10%. Don't quit your job without another one lined up. Avoid debt at all costs. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, beside each rule, write down who taught you that rule and whether they were wealthy. Chances are you're following advice from people who never achieved what you want to achieve. Choose one rule this week and intentionally break it. See what happens when you stop playing by someone else's limitations. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 5. Your network is your net worth. A young man once asked a billionaire, "What's the secret to your success?" The billionaire replied, "I surround myself with people who are more successful than me. I learn from them, partner with them, and rise with them." The young man said, "But I don't know anyone successful." The billionaire smiled. "That's why you're poor." Classified Rule number 5. Your network is your net worth. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future. If your friends are broke, you'll be broke. If your friends are comfortable, you'll be comfortable. If your friends are wealthy, you'll be wealthy. This isn't motivational talk. This is social science. You unconsciously adopt the beliefs, behaviors, and income levels of the people you spend the most time with. It's called social contagion. You become the average of your environment. Most people surround themselves with people who validate their limitations. Friends who say, "Yeah, money is hard. Yeah, rich people are lucky. Yeah, let's just enjoy what we have." Those friends are anchors keeping you poor. The wealthy are ruthless about their associations. They cut off limiting relationships. They pursue connections with people operating at higher levels. They pay to be in rooms they don't belong in yet, because they understand that one conversation with the right person is worth more than a decade of hard work with the wrong people. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you want wealth, you might need to leave behind the people you currently know, not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. Poverty loves company. Wealth loves solitude. Here's the practice, the network upgrade. This month, identify 3 people who are operating at the level you want to reach. Find a way to add value to them. Offer your skills. Solve their problems. Show up in their world. At the same time, identify 3 relationships that drain your energy and reinforce your limitations. Start creating distance. This will feel brutal. It will feel lonely. It will feel wrong. Do it anyway, because your network is your net worth. Do this or stay poor. Part 2, the execution rules. Classified Rule 6. Speed beats perfection. In a small workshop, 2 craftsmen worked on the same project. The first spent months perfecting every detail, researching every technique, planning every step. The second built a rough prototype in a week, tested it, failed, adjusted, and tried again. 6 months later, the first craftsman was still planning. The second had built, failed, learned, and launched a successful product. Classified Rule number 6. Speed beats perfection. Poor people wait for perfect conditions. Rich people create conditions through action. Poor people wait for the perfect plan. Rich people adjust the plan as they go. Poor people wait to feel ready. Rich people act before they're ready. Here's the brutal truth. You'll never feel ready. The perfect time will never come. The conditions will never align. The market rewards speed and iteration, not perfection and hesitation. Look at every successful startup. They launched with a minimum viable product. It wasn't perfect. It had bugs. It had limitations. But it was in the market, generating feedback, creating revenue, and improving in real time. Meanwhile, someone else spent years trying to perfect the same idea and launched to a market that had already moved on. Your perfectionism isn't protecting you. It's bankrupting you. Every day you wait to launch that business, someone else is launching theirs. Every day you wait to make that investment, someone else is building wealth. Every day you wait to ask for that raise, someone else is negotiating theirs. Speed creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create confidence. Confidence creates more speed. But you have to start before you're ready. Here's the practice. The Speed Launch Challenge. Choose one idea you've been sitting on, something you've been planning, researching, perfecting. Give yourself 72 hours to launch a version of it, not the perfect version, a version. Build the website, even if it's rough. Record the video, even if it's amateur. Make the offer, even if you're nervous. Start the business, even if you don't have everything figured out. 72 hours, launch, done. You'll earn more in those 3 days than you would in 3 months of planning. Speed beats perfection. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 7. Leverage is the only way out. A farmer works his entire life in his field. Every day, sunrise to sunset, he tills the soil with his own hands. After 40 years, he owns his small plot of land. Another farmer hires workers, buys equipment, scales to multiple fields. After 10 years, he owns an empire. Same amount of work? No. Same results? Not even close. The difference? Leverage. Classified Rule number 7. Leverage is the only way out. You cannot get rich through your own labor alone. Your time and energy are finite. Even if you work 24 hours a day, there's a ceiling to how much you can personally produce. The wealthy understand this. They don't work for money. They build leverage that works for them. There are 4 types of leverage: labor, capital, code, and media. Labor leverage: other people's time. You hire, delegate, outsource. You buy someone's hours at one rate and sell the output at a higher rate. Capital leverage: other people's money. You borrow, invest, or raise funds to multiply your capacity without risking only your own resources. Code leverage: technology and systems. You build once and it scales infinitely. Software, algorithms, automation. Media leverage: attention and influence. You create content that reaches millions without additional effort per person. Poor people rely on their own labor. Rich people stack all 4 types of leverage. If you're trading your time for money with no leverage, you're on the poverty treadmill. Doesn't matter how high your hourly rate is, you're still capped. But if you can get 10 people working for you, invest $100,000 you borrowed, build a system that runs automatically, and create content that reaches 1 million people, you've just multiplied your potential by magnitudes. Here's the practice. The leverage audit. Right now, write down everything you're doing yourself that could be leveraged. What tasks could you delegate? What money could you borrow to invest? What process could you systematize? What knowledge could you share at scale? Then, choose one form of leverage to implement this month. Hire one person, apply for one loan, build one automation, create one piece of scalable content. That one act of leverage will do more for your wealth than a year of grinding alone. Leverage is the only way out. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 8. Sales is the only skill that matters. A brilliant engineer spent 10 years building the most innovative product in his industry. It was perfect. It was revolutionary. It was genius. No one bought it. Meanwhile, an average entrepreneur with an average product sold millions because he knew how to market, persuade, and close deals. Classified Rule number 8. Sales is the only skill that matters. You can have the best idea in the world. If you can't sell it, it's worthless. You can be the most talented professional in your field. If you can't sell yourself, you'll be underpaid. You can have the greatest vision for your life. If you can't sell it to others, you'll build it alone. Every successful person is a salesperson. They're selling their ideas, their vision, their value, their products, their services, themselves. Steve Jobs, master salesman. Elon Musk, master salesman. Oprah Winfrey, master salesperson. They didn't just create value, they communicated value in ways that made people desperate to buy. But here's what society teaches you. Sales is sleazy. Sales is manipulation. Sales is beneath you. That's the programming that keeps you poor. Sales isn't manipulation. Sales is communication. Sales is service. Sales is helping people see the value of what you offer. If you believe in your product, your service, your idea, your vision, and you're not selling it effectively, you're doing the world a disservice. Poor people wait for their value to be recognized. Rich people make sure their value is seen, understood, and purchased. Here's the truth. You're in sales whether you admit it or not. You're selling yourself in job interviews. You're selling your ideas in meetings. You're selling your vision to potential partners. The only question is, are you good at it? Here's the practice, the sales immersion. For the next 30 days, practice selling something every single day. Sell your skills on freelance platforms. Sell products online. Sell your ideas to your team. Sell your vision to potential investors. Every day, one sales conversation. Even if you fail. Especially if you fail. Because sales is a skill, and like all skills, it improves with practice. Master sales, and you'll never be poor again. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 9. Your comfort zone is a prison. A man lived in a small house his entire life. The walls were familiar. The space was predictable. He knew every corner. One day, someone told him there was a mansion waiting for him just beyond the door. All he had to do was leave. But the small house felt safe. Stepping outside felt dangerous. So he stayed. 50 years later, he died in that small house, never knowing what waited beyond the door. Classified Rule number 9. Your comfort zone is a prison. Everything you want is outside your comfort zone. Every opportunity, every breakthrough, every level of wealth you haven't experienced yet. But comfort is seductive. It whispers, stay here, it's safe. Why risk it? And most people listen. They stay in jobs they hate because leaving feels scary. They stay in financial situations they've outgrown because change feels uncertain. They stay in identities that limit them because transformation feels uncomfortable. And they die having never lived. Here's the truth. Comfort is the enemy of wealth. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're choosing poverty over abundance. The wealthy live in perpetual discomfort. They make decisions that terrify them. They have conversations that make them sweat. They take risks that could destroy them. Why? Because they know that on the other side of fear is everything they desire. You want $1 million? That requires you to do things you've never done. Things that feel impossible. Things that scare you. You want financial freedom? That requires you to leave the security of a paycheck. That requires you to bet on yourself. That requires you to fail publicly. You want to be rich? You have to be willing to be uncomfortable every single day. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. That's why most people stay poor. Here's the practice. The daily discomfort challenge. Every day, for the next 30 days, do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Have a conversation you've been avoiding. Make an offer you're afraid to make. Take a risk that scares you. Apply for something you don't think you qualify for. Every single day, one uncomfortable action. Track how you feel. Notice the initial fear. Then, notice what happens when you push through. That's where wealth lives, on the other side of your comfort zone. Do this, or stay poor. Classified Rule 10. Sacrifice now or suffer later. 2 young men stood at the beginning of their careers. Both had dreams of wealth and freedom. The first chose immediate pleasure. He spent his money on entertainment, comfort, and status symbols. He worked only as much as necessary and prioritized fun. The second chose delayed gratification. He lived below his means, invested aggressively, worked obsessively, and denied himself luxuries. 20 years later, the first man was still working paycheck to paycheck, wondering where the time went. The second man was retired at 40, living the life the first man dreamed about. Classified rule number 10. Sacrifice now or suffer later. There's no escaping sacrifice. The only question is when. You can sacrifice now. Your comfort, your time, your social life, your immediate pleasures. You can grind when others party. You can save when others spend. You can build when others consume. Or you can sacrifice later. Your freedom, your dreams, your dignity, your time with family. You can work until you're 70. You can stress over bills until you die. You can regret the life you never lived. The choice is yours. But you can't avoid the sacrifice. Most people choose immediate gratification because sacrifice now feels painful. They want to enjoy their 20s. They want to live a little. They want to have fun. And they do. For a decade. Maybe 2. Then they wake up at 40, 50, 60, realizing they're trapped. They traded temporary pleasure for permanent struggle. The wealthy make the opposite choice. They embrace pain now for freedom later. They delay gratification. They invest in their future selves. They live in small apartments while building businesses. They skip vacations to reinvest profits. They work weekends while their friends relax. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. But in 10 years, they're free. And the people who chose comfort are still grinding. Here's the brutal question. What are you willing to sacrifice today for the life you want tomorrow? If your answer is nothing, you've chosen poverty. If your answer is everything, you've chosen wealth. Here's the practice. The sacrifice declaration. Right now, write down 3 things you're willing to sacrifice for the next 2 years to build wealth. It might be your social life. It might be Netflix binges. It might be eating out. It might be sleeping in. Be specific. Be honest. Then commit. For the next 2 years, every time you're tempted by immediate gratification, remember your declaration. Choose sacrifice over comfort. 2 years of intentional sacrifice can create a lifetime of freedom. Or you can choose comfort now and suffer for 40 years. Sacrifice now or suffer later. Do this or stay poor. Part 3. The final rules classified Rule 11. Money is a game. A and your E losing in ancient Rome, there was a game played in the Colosseum. Gladiators fought for survival while crowds cheered. Some gladiators saw it as life or death. Others saw it as a game to be won. The ones who saw it as a game studied the rules, mastered the strategies, and often survived. The ones who saw it as tragedy usually died. Classified Rule number 11. Money is a game, and you're losing. Here's what poor people don't understand. Money isn't personal. It's not emotional. It's not moral. It's a game with rules, strategies, and scorekeepers. And if you don't know the rules, you're playing at a massive disadvantage. The wealthy treat money like a game. They study the rules. They find the exploits. They play strategically. They don't get emotional when they lose. They adjust and play again. Poor people treat money like survival. Every loss is devastating. Every risk is terrifying. Every decision is life or death. And that's why they lose. When money is survival, you make fear-based decisions. You avoid risk. You play defensively. You never take the shots that could win the game. When money is a game, you make strategic decisions. You take calculated risks. You play offensively. You shoot for wins instead of avoiding losses. Think about successful investors. They lose money all the time. Bad investments, failed ventures, market crashes. Do they quit? No, because they know it's a game. Some bets win, some bets lose. The goal is to win more than you lose. But poor people, one financial setback and they're traumatized. They withdraw. They play it safe. They never recover. Here's the shift. Stop treating money like it defines you. Start treating it like a game you're learning to master. When you lose money, don't say I'm a failure. Say that strategy didn't work. What can I learn? When you make money, don't say I'm lucky. Say that strategy worked. How can I repeat it? Here's the practice. The money game mindset. For the next 30 days, keep a money game journal. Track every financial decision as a move in a game. What strategy did I use? Did it work? What did I learn? Remove emotion. Remove identity. Just analyze the game. This one shift will transform your relationship with wealth. Money is a game. Learn the rules. Master the strategies. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 12. The system wants you poor. In every empire throughout history, there was a ruling class and a working class. The rulers designed systems to keep workers productive, compliant, and dependent. Nothing has changed. Classified Rule number 12. The system wants you poor, not broke. Poor. There's a difference. Broke is temporary. Poor is a mindset, and the system profits when you think like a poor person. The education system, designed to create employees, not entrepreneurs. You're taught to follow instructions, memorize information, and seek approval. Perfect training for a worker, terrible training for wealth. The media, designed to keep you distracted and consuming. Entertainment, news, social media, all designed to occupy your mind so you don't focus on building wealth. The financial system, designed to trap you in credit cards, student loans, mortgages, all structured to keep you paying interest for decades. The consumer culture, designed to make you spend every dollar you earn on things you don't need. Keep up with trends, buy the latest, go into debt for lifestyle. Every single system is engineered to extract value from you and keep you dependent. But here's what they don't want you to know. You can opt out. You can reject the programming. You can play by different rules. The wealthy see through the systems. They don't work for money. They own businesses that employ workers. They don't consume. They create products that others consume. They don't pay interest. They collect interest. They've reversed the flow. And the system hates them for it. Because when you opt out of poverty programming and start building wealth, you become a threat to the structure. Here's the truth. The system will fight you. Society will question you. Friends will doubt you. Family will worry about you because you're breaking the rules. You're refusing to stay in your place. Good. Let them worry. Let them doubt because you're not playing their game anymore. Here's the practice. The system audit. Write down every way the system has programmed you to stay poor. Your education, your job, your debt, your spending habits, your beliefs about money. Now, beside each one, write how you can reject that programming. Drop out and build. Quit and start. Pay off debt aggressively. Stop consuming and start creating. Reprogram your beliefs. The system wants you poor. Choose wealth anyway. Do this or stay poor. Classified Rule 13, the final choice. You've now been given the classified book of money rules. 13 principles that separate the wealthy from the poor. But knowledge means nothing without action. And action requires a choice. The final classified rule. You already know what to do. The question is, will you do it? Let's be honest. Everything I've shared you've probably heard some version of before. Maybe not this directly. Maybe not this brutally. But deep down, you already know. You know you need to take more risks. You know you need to start that business. You know you need to change your network. You know you need to sell yourself better. You know you need to sacrifice now for freedom later. You know. But knowing and doing are separated by one thing. Choice. Right now, you're at the crossroads. On one side is everything you've always done. The familiar path. The safe path. The path that leads to exactly where you are now. On the other side is these classified rules. The uncomfortable path. The uncertain path. the path that requires you to become someone you've never been. Do this, or stay poor. That's the choice. And here's what most people do. They watch this video. They feel inspired. They think, yes, I'm going to change everything. Then tomorrow comes. Life gets busy. Old habits return. And nothing changes. They stay poor. Don't be most people. Here's what I need from you. For the next 90 days, commit to living these classified rules, not just knowing them, living them. Reject poverty as a choice. Recognize how your poverty serves others and reverse it. Stop waiting for hard work to pay off and start creating value. Break rules that keep you limited. Upgrade your network ruthlessly. Move fast instead of waiting for perfect. Build leverage instead of trading time for money. Master sales as your most important skill. Leave your comfort zone daily. Sacrifice now instead of suffering later. Treat money as a game you're learning to master. Reject the systems designed to keep you poor. Make the choice every single day. 90 days, that's all I'm asking. 90 days of full commitment to these rules. If you do this, I promise you, your financial reality will transform. Not because of magic, because of mechanics. Because these are the actual rules that create wealth. But if you don't, if you close this video and do nothing, you've made a choice. You've chosen to stay poor. Here's the final practice, the commitment declaration. Right now, comment below, I commit to 90 days of the classified rules. When you declare it publicly, you activate accountability. Then, print out these 13 rules. Put them somewhere you'll see them every day. Every morning, read them. Every evening, review which ones you live that day. Track your progress. Notice the shifts. Watch your reality change. 90 days. Do this or stay poor. The classified book of money rules has been opened. The hidden collection has been revealed. You now know what the wealthy know. You now see what the poor don't see. Poverty is a choice. Your poverty serves someone else's wealth. You're paid for value, not effort. Every rich person broke rules. Your network is your net worth. Speed beats perfection. Leverage is the only way out. Sales is the only skill that matters. Your comfort zone is a prison. Sacrifice now or suffer later. Money is a game. The system wants you poor. And you already know what to do. 13 rules. One choice. Do this. Or stay poor. Everything changes from this moment forward, not because of what you know, but because of what you do with what you know. The wealthy didn't discover secret information you can't access. They simply made different choices. They acted when others hesitated. They committed when others quit. And now, it's your turn. Before this video, you had an excuse. You didn't know the rules. You weren't aware of the game. You hadn't been shown the path. But now you know. Which means from this moment forward, your poverty is a choice. I don't say that to be cruel. I say that to be clear. You have the rules. You have the strategies. You have the roadmap. The only question remaining is, will you follow it? If this video changed something inside you, do 3 things. 1, save this video. You'll need to return to it. These rules need to be reviewed regularly until they become automatic. 2, share this video. Someone in your life needs this wake-up call. Someone is ready to make a different choice. Be the person who shows them the path. 3, commit publicly. Comment, I choose wealth. When you declare it, you activate a force inside yourself that won't let you quit. The classified book of money rules was hidden for a reason, because this knowledge in the wrong hands changes nothing. But in your hands, in the hands of someone ready to do the work, to make the sacrifices, to break the rules, to choose differently, this knowledge changes everything. You didn't find this video by accident. The universe, fate, algorithm, whatever you want to call it, led you here. Now it's your responsibility to honor that by taking action. 90 days, 13 rules. One choice. Do this or stay poor. I'll see you on the other side.